the hell goes there? Come on in, since you're already here.
A weird, scruffy old man with a matted beard is sitting in front of the checkout terminal. The badge on his blue jumpsuit is long since bleached away. The name Aaron Melville is written there in black marker. With a groan, he picks up a magnifying glass and, peering through it, begins poking at the keyboard with one knobby finger. The computer plays a short tune. "Checkmate," the system declares. The old man angrily sets the magnifying glass aside.
A Grandmaster? You're a piece of junk, not a Grandmaster. And a cheater to boot.
He raises his head to squint in your direction.
Eh? What do you want? I don't advise eating here, and there's nothing to buy. And either way, we're closed.
The shopkeeper rises from his seat, and you notice he's sporting a peg where his left leg should be. The old man frowns and sniffles loudly.
You want to write a complaint? Go ahead.
He looks at you for a minute. When he realizes you're not going to complain, the surly expression slowly leaves his face. The angry look turns to a sad one. After a brief pause, he speaks again.
Yeah, well, I do have some problems.
Melville waves you aside. He's sad and frustrated.
Well, look at you in your shiny new weaponized monkey suit. You work with the blacks, don't you? And why don't your bunch ever do crap? These simple folks got some real problems on our hands here, you know?
The old man lowers his voice, almost to a whisper.
The oranges pick on me. Escapees, by the look of it. They demand food, money, gas. I've got a turret at the entrance, but it doesn't do no shit. My stand-in screwed something up with the circuitry in the basement. Gotta take a look when I get a chance. But with my leg acting up, those rickety stairs just ain't my cup of tea. So here I am, sitting and playing chess, waiting for those bastards to come back.
Melville's getting grim again. He adds,
It's my business, and you'd best stay out of it. But if you want to, here's the key. Go down to the basement and see if you can do something with the generator. Maybe you can get the turret to work. That'd make things easier.
The old man sniffs, annoyed.
Get some noodles from the vending machine there. I've told you we're closed. There aren't any deliveries.
The old man throws up his hands with a scowl.
Then go fix it.
Melville reluctantly points a crooked finger at the front door.
Go out there and walk over to the gas station. Go down to the basement. There's an anomaly, a tree. It's glowing. And there are some golden thingies hanging off it. We make special devices from that fruit called anomaly protectors. Should one be laying around on the floor, go grab it, then put it in the truck and bug off to... Where was it you was going to? That's where you bug off to.
The blue starts slapping the pockets on his overalls. After a little digging, he pulls out a little key on a shoelace.
Only take the device, you hear? It's company property. I should be charging you myself, as a matter of fact.
The old man sits at the counter with his head propped.
How should I know? They came in and sat down. Ask them yourself.
The old man grumbles.
Good day.
Why
nice
should
chatting.
we depend on rational knowledge? Reason leads us up a blind alley, over and over again. There are mystical epiphanies and my books.
Right.
Get out of my...
Melville agitatedly examines the blue car through the dusty glass.
Hey, what? How did they... They already barged in? Well, that's no good.
The old man gestures broadly.
This is a gas station, sweetheart. Try rummaging around. But don't you touch the dumpsters. I mind that because of the darn rats. I'm coming out there. Then you'll see. I'm gonna rip you a new back.
Melville agitatedly examines the blue car through the dust. The old man squints and gives you a silly smile.
Huh, so it's like that. Well, thank you, thank you. I didn't think you'd be any good. Get out of my gas station.
Jellyfish.
Why are you bugging me?
With his gang problem solved, Melville is visibly more hospitable.
I'm sorry for bitching at you, sweetheart. My mood hasn't been great this last couple of weeks. Would you like some coffee? Because I could,
The old man takes off his plastic leg and wraps it on the counter.
Hey, anybody want some coffee? Coffee, come on.
You can't tell if Aaron is coughing or laughing.
Well, it's seething with life. People come and go. White wingers hanging around the swamp. One such fella came along today, walking around poking things with that scanner of his. Doesn't shake hands with people. What kind of guy is that?
The old man leans close and continues in a confidential tone.
I used to have a gizmo of sorts. It warmed stuff up better than any heater. And when they saw it, their eyes almost bugged out of their heads. They took it away from me. It's dangerous, they said. What else? Well, sometimes bandits show up. Get pounded on the head occasionally. Not as often as I'd like, but there it is.
The old man gives you a smile of satisfaction. The blue grunts like a goose.
Well, I cook for myself here. It's, you know, an acquired taste.
The old man sighs in sadness.
What life? I'm an old man. Life, my ass.
The old man scrubs his bald spot.
That'd be my stand-in, I think. And here I reckoned he'd gone and quit on me. Could smell the stench from the cellar. Thought a rat croaked down there.
Listening to your story, he shakes his head in amazement.
You say it didn't even look like a person? Oh, I had a bad feeling about this place from the start. Not good at all, I'm telling you. Hey, sweetheart! Wait a minute, hold up.
The blue claps you on the arm. He looks a bit confused.
I was thinking, I wanted to thank you. Maybe we could go on a picnic. You like picnics, don't you?
Aaron smiles. His expression is both silly and sincere.
Look, there's a cliff nearby. Lovely place. I got a cook pot already there. A comfy piece of tarpaulin, too. And the logs are alive. Even got a little bottle stashed away.
Melville grunts, reaches under the counter and pulls out a bulky bag smelling of onions. The old man lays out the bag's contents on the counter. Canned pork, onions, eggs, and potatoes. He looks quite proud of his stash.
What's a picnic without snacks? Here, I'm gonna teach you my family recipe for pulled pork. First, you have to boil the eggs, and then...
Gesturing excitedly, the old man reveals the secrets of Melville family cuisine.
I'd cook it myself, but I'm sure you can do better. See the stove behind me? There you go. Use it. Go ahead and cook.
The Blue rakes the food back into the bag and gives it to you. Aaron stares into his screen and mutters to... He notices you.
Ah, it's you. Well, come...
Squinting skeptically, Aaron takes a piece of pork and tries it.
Well, what do you know? That came out pretty good.
He lowers his voice.
There's that guy with the rock, the white by the swamp, and those two hippies. Ask them if they want to sit with us, too. If you got anybody else in mind, call them, too. More people, more fun.
Come on, don't be shy. Come back again.
Howdy.
Come back again.
Clara briefly looks up from poking around the engine.
So, how's the situation? Sure you don't want some nuts? Water, maybe. I have some here.
You see doubt in Blue's eyes.
I don't know,
Clara looks hesitant.
but we're on a mission.
She wipes her hands with a rag draped over the truck fender.
All right, but not for long. We'll do it in half an hour, right?
Money, Padme, money, Padme,
The old man's face is red from drink and ecstatically happy.
See, it was a good sitting, all right. And that friend of yours is fine. If I was a bit younger, trust me, I'd marry her in a second. Yeah, I'd just take her by the elbow and say, "My lady, come with me down the aisle."
Melville hiccups loudly.
Hello. Come back again.
Salutations. good one.
On the engine.
So, how's the situation? Sure you don't want some nuts? Water, maybe. I have some here.
The Blue unscrews a nozzle from under the block, examines it, then screws it back in place.
Huh? The mission? I missed that part. Sorry. Kingsley told me to take you to your group. They've lost connection with them. You don't know anything about that, do you?
The woman distracts herself from the repairs for a moment.
It was what they call a divine providence. I wasn't content with my life. Felt like he was putting my faith to the test. I was angry with him and wished he would send me a miracle.
She stares past you into the distance, her face radiant.
One day, I suddenly realized the Lord had already shown me a real miracle. My false pride made me think the miracle should be for my eyes only, but it was for everyone to witness. Do you understand?
She smiles condescendingly, as if you were a small child.
I mean the dome. The Lord has sent us all of this to let us know that He is near, watching us.
She falls silent, but can barely contain her excitement. A vague smile appears on the Blue's face.
Really? That's good news. We could have been stuck in here for a long time. Radio's still not working.
Clara slides off the truck's caterpillar track, letting you get to the motor compartment. Clara briefly looks up from poking. A couple of miles before the base, Clara asks you to take a passenger seat, referring to the requirements of the administration. You understand that something is wrong as soon as you reach the entrance to Nashville. The barrier at the checkpoint is raised. The indicators of the turrets are red. Black smoke is rising from the parking lot. The automatic guns beep and direct their gun barrels at your vehicle. You and Morgan exchange concerned looks. This attempt is unsuccessful. The tow truck spins out of control and crashes into the security booth. A burst of bullets from the turret pierces the vehicle, covering you with shattered glass. The Blue tumbles out of the open driver's side door with a grunt, and you follow her. Sitting beside the truck track, you lift your head to see Nashville ablaze. Black smoke billowing overhead and intertwining with the maelstrom above the station. It whirls slowly and majestically, hundreds of tiny green lightning bolts flashing silently in the epicenter. Clara lifts her eyes to the sky, mesmerized by the whirlpool of clouds.
We need to scout the surroundings.
You nod in agreement. Morgan is right. It's time you figured out what happened here. The ventilation shaft is filled with the thick stench of a sewer. Though, as you crawl forward, the smell is gradually replaced with the sharp scent of quartz. It's dark in here, but you can see a round grill at the end of the shaft and yellow lamplight beyond. You crawl a bit farther and, battering the grill down, climb into a utility tunnel with a metal ladder leading upward. It looks like the external access of an elevator shaft. After climbing some 20 meters, you come to a trap door. You push the lid open and find a short passage leading right to the elevator platform. You crawl into the dimly lit elevator platform and, when you raise your head, spot a woman standing in the corner. You examine the chevron on her jacket sleeve. Apparently, she's one of those responsible for the Nashville site excavation. Your eyes are drawn to her hands, where dozens of tiny lights are moving under her skin with a faint twinkle. The stranger ignores your question. You stand silently for some time, leaning against the elevator fencing. The strange woman suddenly turns, her eyes wide open. In them, you see brightly glowing white rings around the iris. There's a thud. Something heavy falls down behind you, making the cabin shudder. You reflexively jump aside, just in time. A body lands where you were standing a moment ago with an unpleasant crunch. And then another one, right next to it. People begin to fall onto the elevator platform from the darkness of the shaft above. The elevator platform is shaking. A speaker on the wall comes alive. Caution, overload. Please vacate the platform. Caution, overload. Please vacate. The strained overhead cable snaps with a blaring twang. You fail to leap from the platform in time. It plummets, whatever remains of its emergency braking mechanism screeching unbearably. You clutch the railing, pressing your entire body against it to brace for the impact. The elevator car comes to a sudden halt as it crashes into something soft with a loud splash. Faint emergency lights illuminate a heap of torn limbs and crushed torsos smeared on the floor. The smell of blood is thick in the air. You stagger to your feet. The elevator door opens onto a dark corridor. You have arrived at your destination. Welcome to Nashville.
Code Red. General alert.
I'm all ears. I hope we won't see you again.
Structural damage located.
Louise is killing me. What possessed her to lock me in? There's some connection between the emanation of the state and the condition of the
There are traces and fractals. Traces and fractals.
There's outsider radiation everywhere. Someone passed through here, scattering their light around. There are traces and fractals. Traces and fractals.
There's surely a source for this radiation. Louise is killing me. What possessed her to lock me in here?
Attention, attention. Please handle relics carefully. In case of damage, your life will be forfeit.
Radiation. Does this mean that all radioactive zones under the dome release similar emanations? Interesting. Louise is killing me. What possessed her to lie?
How can I help?
Attention. Please handle relics carefully. In case of damage, your life will be forfeit. Attention. Please handle relics carefully. In case of damage, your life will be forfeit.
Later.
Oh, you again. G'day.
Attention. Please handle relics carefully. In case of damage, your life will be forfeit.
Bye-bye. Something that doesn't add up to this situation.
Hello again.
Yes?
The white noise on the screen is replaced with pulsating blackness and a remote echoing beep. Connection established. In a few seconds, Kingsley's face appears on the screen. The Silver adjusts his glasses.
Come in. C-12 Nashville. Kingsley speak. Oh, that's you. Good to see you.
Kingsley clicks his retractable pen and shifts closer to the camera.
Report.
Kingsley seems to perk up a little when he hears of the maelstrom.
Did you examine it? Was it moving? Actually, never mind. Anything else?
The Silver jots something down on a sheet of paper.
So they're no longer a danger for the rescue group. Very good.
The chief officer listens to the casualty report without interrupting. He's visibly shaken. Once you finish speaking, Kingsley gets lost in thought, biting the end of his pen.
If there's anything else I need to know, you may add it to your report.
He finally starts speaking, his voice soft and emotionless. You describe recent events. Martin convulsively jots everything down in his notepad. The Silver wipes his forehead with a silk handkerchief, fidgeting.
Good grief. Is there anything else?
Director Kingsley flips a page in his notepad, nervously tapping his pen on the desk.
Duly noted. Well then, the news is unsettling. But what about the crew? Have you found them? If it's not an issue, could you update me on each member of your group?
Kingsley presses his palms against his temples.
I beg you, don't put yourself at risk unless the situation absolutely calls for it. We can't afford any more casualties.
The chief officer puts his pen on the desk and sits back in his chair, his gaze empty and detached.
I'm sorry to hear that. Do continue.
He struggles to reply. The director sighs angrily.
When the investigation is underway, I'm certain they'll ask me why I deployed someone like that for the task.
The Silver jots something down.
I don't doubt for a second that Ronald is doing exactly that. Man's a true professional.
The director makes a note in the documents.
Thank heavens. The crew remains partially functional and capable of performing the tasks at hand.
Once your report is over, Director Kingsley becomes lost in thought.
First of all, I need to apologize. On behalf of the corporation and myself. Forgive me. I shouldn't have sent a new employee on this task.
His voice sounds oddly dull. Martin wipes his glasses with a red handkerchief.
Your report seems to suggest we're facing something incredibly dangerous. I always tend to follow my instructions to the letter. In this case, the instructions say you should stay where you are and wait for rescue. But sadly, I know what we're dealing with.
Kingsley puts his glasses on and looks at the screen.
I'm sorry I couldn't give all the details. Nashville is a high-security facility. But I guess that's not important anymore. A certain relic resulted in what you are witnessing right now. In the last couple of days, we've been receiving reports of staff suffering a rapidly deteriorating mental state. And now everything's culminated in this.
The Silver sighs raggedly.
Take action. Go down to the excavation area and find this relic. Bury it, disarm it, destroy it. Do whatever you think appropriate. I'll send a rescue team right after we're done here. But regardless, act. Do not hesitate, and good luck to you.
The broadcast is interrupted. The screen is filled with black and white ripples.
So, later.
Lighting enabled. Have a nice day, employee.
This amber-orange ball, hovering above the scientific equipment connected to it, seems to be the reason for what happened in Nashville. You can feel the waves of anomalous radiation emanating from it with your whole body. A pleasant tingling rolls through your skin, and each wave fills your head for a mere moment with strange, rapidly fading images. Without taking your eyes off the sphere, you move closer. You aim your scanner at the artifact's glowing surface, but the device will not function. Only a sine curve is quivering spasmodically on the monochrome screen. You suddenly begin to feel numb. The prickling in your hands and the anomalous radiation pressing against your head grow weaker, but a frightening sensation rises in their stead. An unknown force detaches you from your body and takes you up into the cool, ringing silence. The maelstrom hanging above Nashville embraces you. All of your consciousness unfolds like a giant canvas, hurling you into a dark auditorium. You see the maelstrom swirling over Nashville. Pulling you from the crumbling walls of the base, it lifts your mind above the world. It covers the lands of the dome like a gigantic spot, in the swirling shadow of which the lights of human consciousness flicker. Some of them fade away, barely in contact with the maelstrom. Others grow dimmer and blink painfully. Some glow with a strange, cold light. Gaining strength, the maelstrom, rushing westward, comes crashing down onto the southern lands of the dome, leaving behind hundreds of fluttering and slowly fading lights. After sweeping out Concord and Spire Station, the maelstrom finally calms down. It hangs in the very center of the dome, like a majestic, lazily swirling vortex, and your mind rushes about within it like a shining spark. It takes you some time to realize that you're wandering through a fog. Eventually, the dull, white nothingness begins to dissipate, slowly returning you to reality. A noise fills your ears, a rumble resembling the sound of waves rolling ashore. You step carefully through the white haze. Fragile bits of rock crackle under your feet. Vague shadows appear from the mist over your head. Breached concrete plate bristling with exposed armature. The dusty drill of an earth mover lying on its side. Yellowed documents, boxes. Crushed steel closets that tumbled down through gaps in the floor. The space beneath your feet resembles thick but perfectly transparent ice. A vortex of clouds spins slowly below, the lights still flickering. They're the same lights you saw when you first touched the sphere. The lights are actively moving, wandering, gathering. Iridescent, they form both small and large groups, and the desert far below changes, following their pattern. Settlements appear in the north, in the east, in the west, and even in the dull yellow barrens of the south. They grow right before your eyes, as if time were moving ahead at incredible speed.
Good day.
Clara is surrounded with white light and mist, her hands clasped in prayer. She reminds you of an angel statue from some reformist church. Seeing you, her expression changes. She crosses herself, mumbling under her breath. Clara recoils from you in horror.
I was having lunch. And then you appeared. Out of nowhere.
She nervously touches the cross hanging from her neck. Clara never moves her gaze off you.
I remember you saying, find the car and drive away. If I knew you were sacrificing yourself, I would have stayed. If someone frees you from your oath out of generosity or humanity, does that mean the oath shouldn't be fulfilled? I still don't know the answer to it.
You see sorrow and grief in her eyes.
I only know that I'm an awful wrongdoer. I hope you're in heaven now?
Clara sighs heavily.
I see. Why are you appearing to me? Is this some sort of a sign? Do you know about signs? This is when...
Her voice suddenly becomes deep and thick. She drawls as if her words were being played from a corrupted tape. Clara's face alters subtly, as if it had turned to stone.
Abbott is very kind to me, but his faith is nothing I could get used to.
She says in a dull voice.
Glad to meet you.
There's no doubt. The funny, scruffy old man standing before you is Aaron Melville, the old man from the gas station. He also recognizes you. A smile wrinkles his already wrinkled face.
Ah, it's you. Long time no see, sweetheart.
Melville examines you closely.
Safe and sound, I see. How'd you pull that off? No one survived where you were heading. The only worst place is the center of the dome, where the spire... Well, you know.
The old man points vaguely upwards with his crooked finger.
You're aware, aren't you? The spire is fallen. Now the road's closed. As if folks would want to come here anyway. And here we stay, like crabs in a barrel.
He thumps his timber leg on the ground, driving the mist away.
Don't think that I'm complaining. My business is on a roll. They come and they go.
Melville's face seems to petrify. He speaks slowly, but flounders anyway.
The gas station can be crowded nowadays. Everybody needs my gas station. Oh, folks went crazy, I tell you. Fighting over nothing.
The old man woefully shakes his head. A dazzling supernova-like flash sweeps across your view. The lights, frozen in the desert, start to move, and a cloudy funnel begins to slowly trail after you. The funnel spreads out under your feet. Flickering waves of lights drift northward, driven by the winds of a maelstrom. Not just a maelstrom. Maelstrom. Its shadow covers the west and south of the dome, as if it was extinguishing the lights scattered across the desert. Van Olden looks the same as he did during your first meeting. The same shiny glasses with thin rims, an arrogant expression, and a stopwatch clutched in his hands. He's examining a shred of mist hanging in the air. He's so involved in his research that he doesn't notice you at first. Meeting your eyes, the scientist instantly darts back. Then he comes up to you and begins to palpate your face, hands, and clothes. His fingers seem to sink in your face. Sebastian Van Olden screws up his lips scornfully.
Yes, of course. A thought form, like the pink mist, I suppose, or any other similar anomaly. As was to be expected.
For a split second, the scornful grimace leaves the scientist's face.
I actually agree with you. The megala anomaly of Nashville turned out to be much more dangerous, and the consequences of its appearance disastrous. On the other hand, everything that happened gives us the most plentiful research material. If Russo didn't hamper me, we would have learned Maelstrom's nature a long time ago.
He runs his hand over the mist curling around. The scientist loses all interest in you, steps aside, and continues to study the mist. A gray-haired man, arms stiff at his sides, stands squinting short-sightedly into the mist. Kingsley is much shorter in person, and older. He notices you.
I never thought we'd meet again. I must thank you. Thanks to your report, I was able to start the evacuation in time.
Martin comes closer. You notice small changes in his uniform. Some of the insignia have been replaced by larger patches resembling military chevrons. Kingsley nods as if anticipating your question.
Yes, the uniform is new, but the man is the same. Head of Magellan Base. I intended to resign after the incident, but Nakamura decided otherwise. I couldn't argue with her.
He surveys the thick mist around you.
One thing's certain. You're standing here. That means you're alive. Yes, I know what this is, partly.
He looks you in the eye and says,
Scientists on the emulator project have been telling us a lot about it. Not everything, of course. Even they don't know what it is.
You smell quartz and sand tempered in the sun. But as you try to penetrate the dispersing mist, you can't see any desert. The world around you is full of pictures. They're floating around like visions in some crystal ball. A hall covered with carpets. A golden Cronus logo on the wall among wine-red banners. A power plant. A city filled with lights. Mercenaries, soldiers, armored vehicles moving through the cool wasteland in the night. The spire of a temple spire, its searchlight shining into the night sky. White corridors of research complexes. The visions fade one after another until only the last remains. The black silhouette of a strange building towering up from the lighter sand. This picture freezes before your eyes, as if giving sense to everything that came before. A wizened old man, long and lean as a scarecrow, leans over to examine you with the curiosity of a vulture. His long, yellow-white robes fall down in waves and rustle quietly. His stony black eyes resemble those of a blind man, but their gaze is fixed on you.
Such remarkable technology,
He says in a low, well-modulated voice. This voice seems to belong to some other person. He smiles, a warm and kindly expression, wildly at odds with the menace in his eyes.
Name your price, and I'll buy your design. But be reasonable. Take time with your answer. Think it through.
With the smile still fixed on his face, he steps back into the mist, never taking his eyes off you. You hear heels clicking. A dark figure appears out of the mist before you. It's a woman. You've never met her, but you feel as though you've seen her face 1,000 times. You even know the sound of her voice, although you have no idea where you could have heard it. She looks at you with surprise. Then she frowns pensively and steps closer. She stands so close you can see multicolored reflections in her bionic eye. After poking you to confirm your ethereal nature, she waves her hand left to right. Obviously, she's hoping to disperse you like mist. Naturally, she fails. The woman chuckles discontentedly and leaves. The clicking of her heels fades quickly away. The fuzzy mist, as if whisked with a mixer, looks like slowly dissolving clouds. A short, chubby little man in a camouflage cap and army shirt steps fussily out of the white. He clasps his hands behind his back and stops a few steps away, scanning you with his gaze. Vivid interest flashes in his eyes. He clears his throat.
I'm out of jokes about death. Or about Mr. Christ. I'm out of jokes about hallucinations. Although hallucinations under the dome aren't any joke, but an everyday reality.
The man circles you. His glance bounces from your face to your uniform to your shoes and back.
But you are something else. So, let's see. A pre-war haircut, old-time uniform, clean and pressed. Shoes aren't worn out. Just got them.
He recites with enthusiasm. He frees his plump palm and carefully touches you with one finger.
You are ethereal, but light-tight. You respond to my movements. You are not using an image that's familiar to me. You don't look like anyone I know. And your badge says...
He raises himself on tiptoes and fixes his eyes upon your badge.
The name. Of course. Of course. The name.
He flings his arms about and leaves without even saying goodbye. The mist seems to slam shut behind his back, like a pair of wing doors closing. The fluctuant white slowly settles. A man and a woman stand before you. The woman rolls her eyes discontentedly.
Are you serious? Tuesday, I tell you. Wednesday, I tell you. Thursday. How come I always repeat the same thing? I can't sleep without my pills. You're the man. You're responsible for me. The nightstand. The top drawer. There they are. Oh, my pills. Just say pills before we go to sleep. Is that so difficult, Johan?
She pushes him lightly on the shoulder. The man nods automatically, lost in thought. The woman clasps her hands in front of her chest. She's boiling with frustration.
I can't depend on you, can I? I haven't been able to relax in years because I have to control the situation for both of us. Johan! Hello! My pills! P-I-L-L-S!
Her shouts break through the man's pondering. He comes to his senses and stares at you in surprise. Then he turns to face his companion.
Olivia, don't shout. Make a habit of putting your pills on your pillow. Anyway, this isn't about the pills.
Olivia falters and points her finger at you.
And what is this? Or who is this? Mind telling me, without the never-ending riddles, Johan. Just tell me.
Johan gives you an appraising look.
Is it Maelstrom? Hobbit's trying out a new device? I don't know, darling. Now, be so kind to take these goddamn pills since you remembered. And if you must yell to it quietly, I have a migraine.
The woman flings her arms up fiercely and walks away into the mist. Johan lets her go ahead, then follows. An unfamiliar woman steps out of the mist and looks at you with the wandering eyes of a mad person. She's wearing a tall, crudely made tin crown painted with gold powder enamel. She smiles, although on her, this expression is more like an evil grin. She begins to prowl around you in a circle, wary eyes locked on your face. While circling around you, she steps into the mist and stops in place, a vague, distant silhouette. The mist fades away. You see a short, dark-skinned man with a grim face. He's wearing a brightly colored turban. You take a step towards him, and he strides forward as if to block your way.
The ends justify the means, don't they? Have your scientists nothing better to do, Kimiko?
He asks, looking upward. The stranger raises his hand, forcing you to stop. He looks up again.
We have to be like the Soviet Union and Germany in the late 1930s. Mutual favors, mutual limits, parity. We've always worked on such terms.
As he finishes speaking, his lips stop. The man in the turban keeps standing there, a lean figure looking angrily upward. By the time you exit the cave, the desert is in deep darkness. Blue firefly lights are floating in the thick darkness. The dry, chilly air smells of cooling sand. When you look closer, you notice a tall, white structure nearby. The screen on your Kairos blinks. The system reports an error while trying to update the built-in atlas. When the maps reload, the icons are gone. Only a single marker indicating your location remains. Well, you're still near Nashville, at least judging by the coordinates.